Aaron Mitchell yawned as he stared at his computer screen. The clock on the wall showed 3:15 a.m., but he couldn't sleep. Not after what he had seen in the data. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked again at the strange radiation patterns coming from the Andromeda Galaxy. For 3 weeks, Aaron had noticed something odd in his readings. At first, he thought it was equipment error. Then he believed it might be a new type of star. Now he was sure it was something else entirely, something that would change humanity forever. "Computer, run the pattern analysis again," he said, his voice rough from too much coffee. The screen flashed with numbers and charts. The pattern was clear now, regular, deliberate, intelligent. Aaron reached for his phone with shaking hands. "Director Wilson? I'm sorry for calling so late. You need to see this right away." 6 months later, the world knew the truth. Humans were not alone in the universe. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every country gathered in New York to discuss first contact protocol. News channels showed nothing but space experts talking about what the signals meant. Religious leaders debated what alien life meant for their beliefs. Children looked up at the stars with new wonder. Aaron sat in the front row of the UN Assembly Hall, still amazed that his discovery had led to this moment. Next to him sat Olivia Reyes, the newly appointed United Earth Ambassador. She looked calm, but Aaron noticed how tightly she gripped her tablet. "Are you ready for this?" he asked her. Olivia gave a small smile. "No one is ready for this, Aaron. We're about to meet aliens. Real aliens." The room fell silent as UN Secretary General Garcia took the stage. "Today marks the most important moment in human history. The Galactic Council has accepted our invitation. Their ships will arrive tomorrow." The next day, millions watched the sky as 17 massive ships appeared in Earth orbit. They seemed to blink into existence, showing technology far beyond human capability. One smaller ship descended to the landing site prepared in a field outside New York. Aaron stood with Olivia and other officials as the ship touched down. It made no sound. It left no burn marks on the grass. It simply settled as gently as a falling leaf. A door appeared in the smooth metal surface. A ramp extended to the ground. The first alien stepped into Earth's sunlight. It stood nearly 7 feet tall with blue-gray skin that shimmered like silk. It had 4 arms and a face that reminded Aaron of a cat with large golden eyes and small features. It wore what looked like flowing robes made of light. "I am Supreme Delegate Crexter of the Zinthari," it said in perfect English. "I speak for the Galactic Council. We greet Earth and welcome you to the greater community of intelligent life." Olivia stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Olivia Reyes of United Earth. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you and look forward to peaceful relations." The first meetings went well. The alien 17 different species represented on the council shared stories of their worlds. They explained that they had been watching Earth for decades, waiting until humans had reached a certain technological level before making contact. They offered gifts, medicine that could cure several diseases, engines that ran on clean energy, and computers faster than anything on Earth. People celebrated in the streets. World leaders talked about a new age of peace and prosperity. But Aaron noticed something in the way the aliens spoke to humans. A tone, a hint of something that bothered him. 3 months after first contact, he sat in on a meeting between Olivia and Crexter. The alien was explaining which technologies they would share with Earth. "This food production system will help your people," Crexter said, showing a hologram of a strange machine. "It is simple enough for humans to understand." Olivia frowned slightly. "Thank you, but we were hoping to discuss the faster-than-light travel technology you mentioned before." Crexter made a sound like quiet laughter. "Your species is not ready for such technology, perhaps in a century or 2. "We understand it would be a learning process," Olivia said, "but we offer fair trade. Earth has resources that—" "Yes," Crexter interrupted. "Earth has many resources the Council finds valuable. We will extract these resources and provide appropriate technology in return." "Extract?" Olivia asked. "Any resource gathering would need agreements and proper compensation." Earth's governments will want to discuss terms. The alien's golden eyes narrowed. Your species is young and naive, Crexter said. You should be grateful for any consideration from the council. The meeting ended shortly after. Aaron walked with Olivia down the hallway. Did you hear how he spoke to us? Aaron asked. Like we're children. Olivia nodded. I've noticed it more and more. They see us as primitives, barely worth talking to. Ambassador Reyes, a deep voice called from behind them. They turned to see Admiral William Carter, head of Earth's Defense Force. Admiral Carter was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been watching the aliens closely since their arrival. I don't trust them, he said simply. They ask too many questions about our resources but share too little of their knowledge. The Council has provided us with helpful technology, Olivia pointed out. Scraps, Carter said. They show us toys while keeping the real technology to themselves. And now they want to extract resources? That sounds like mining without permission. To me, 2 weeks later, Carter's concerns proved valid. Without asking Earth's permission, Council ships began setting up bases on Mars and Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. When questioned, they simply said it was standard Council procedure for new contact worlds. Olivia called an emergency meeting with Crexter. These actions violate Earth's sovereignty, she said firmly. The Council must consult with Earth before establishing any presence in our solar system. Crexter looked bored. Your claim to other planets is amusing. You can barely reach your own moon. The Council claims these territories by right of our advanced status. Admiral Carter, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. Let me be very clear, he said, his voice low and controlled. We may be young, but we've survived our own brutality. Don't mistake our hospitality for weakness. The alien delegate looked at Carter as one might look at a child making threats. Your warning is noted, human, Crexter said with clear dismissal in his voice. The Council will proceed as planned. As the aliens left the meeting, Aaron turned to Olivia and Carter. They didn't listen at all, did they? No, Carter said, watching the aliens walk away. But they'll learn. One way or another, they'll learn not to ignore our warnings. The next day, Earth watched as more alien ships arrived. They began mining operations on Mars, cutting deep into the red planet without care or permission. When Earth sent messages of protest, the Council simply ignored them. The galaxy had ignored humanity's warning. In the years to come, they would regret making humans angry. 5 years passed since the aliens first came to Earth. Things had not improved. The Galactic Council now had bases all over the solar system. They took whatever they wanted. They treated Earth like a warehouse they could empty without asking. Lisa Blackwell stood in her underground lab, looking at alien technology spread across her table. As head of Earth's Xenotechnology division, her job was to understand what the aliens gave humans. Today, she had made an important discovery. Admiral Carter, you need to see this, she said into her phone. The aliens have been lying to us. Again. An hour later, Admiral William Carter arrived. His hair had more gray now, and new lines marked. His face, 5 years of dealing with the Council, had taken its toll. What did you find? He asked. Lisa pointed to the alien device. This is supposed to be their newest engine design. But look at the date stamp inside. She opened the panel to show tiny alien writing. This technology is over 80 years old for them. They're giving us outdated junk while taking our best resources. Carter wasn't surprised. Can you prove it? Yes, and that's not all. Lisa picked up a sample tube containing black dust. This is what they've been mining from Mars and Europa. It's not just random minerals. It's specific elements they need for their advanced propulsion systems. Elements that are rare in their part of the galaxy but common in ours. Carter took the tube, studying it. So they're taking what they need for their best ships while giving us their outdated leftovers. Exactly, we've been played from the beginning. The next day, Carter and Ambassador Olivia Reyes met with Aronik, the new Council representative. Aronik belonged to the Volturi species. He looked almost human except for his gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand. Olivia placed Lisa's evidence on the table. We know you've been deceiving us. The technology you've shared is deliberately outdated. Meanwhile, you're stripping our system of elements crucial for advanced propulsion. Ironic didn't even pretend to be sorry. He laughed. What will you do about it? Your weapons are centuries behind ours. We demand fair exchange, Carter said, his voice hard. Real technology for our resources. Ironic stood up. Demand all you want. The Council takes what it needs from primitive worlds. Be grateful we don't simply take your planet too. After he left, Olivia looked at Carter. We need to talk to the President. President Henry Dawson listened carefully in the Oval Office as they explained the situation. He was a tall man with dark skin and a reputation for careful thinking. Can we stop them militarily? He asked. Carter shook his head. Not with our current technology. Then we need to change that, Dawson said. He pressed a button on his desk. Send in Dr. Wright. Daniel Wright was not what most people expected in a genius. He was short with messy brown hair and wore a faded t-shirt with jeans, but his mind was perhaps the sharpest on Earth. Dr. Wright, the president said. The time has come for Project Sentinel, Daniel nodded. My team is ready, sir. President. Dawson turned to Carter and Olivia. Project Sentinel is our answer to the Council. For 3 years, we've been gathering the brightest minds on Earth. Their mission is to reverse engineer alien technology while developing new innovations the aliens have never seen. The Council dismisses human creativity, Daniel explained. They think we can only copy, not create. That's their mistake. 2 weeks later, Daniel stood before 50 scientists in a massive underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room buzzed with excited conversation as people unpacked equipment and set up workstations. Welcome to Project Sentinel. Daniel said. The room quieted. Every person here was chosen because you're the best in your field. Your countries have agreed to share you with this project because what we do here might determine humanity's future. He pointed to the alien devices arranged around the lab. The Council thinks these scraps are all we deserve. They think we'll be grateful for their leftovers while they steal our resources. Daniel smiled. They think they know humanity's limits, but they've only seen what we've shown them. Meanwhile, Admiral Carter strengthened Earth's defenses. He built new ships and trained pilots, but he was careful. When Council observers watched military exercises, Carter showed them only basic maneuvers and old weapons. The real training happened in underwater bases and hidden facilities on distant moons. Carter's second-in-command, Captain Frank Winters, questioned this strategy during a private meeting. Sir, why are we hiding our capabilities? We could show the aliens we're not as weak as they think. Carter shook his head. Never let your enemy know your true strength until you're ready to use it. For now, let them underestimate us. Months passed. Project Sentinel made progress, but the Council grew bolder. They expanded mining operations across the solar system. They began taking Earth resources without even pretending to offer technology in exchange. Then came the incident on Ganymede, Jupiter's largest moon. Humans had built a small research colony there. One morning, Council ships arrived without warning. They ordered the colonists to leave immediately. This moon is now claimed for Council mining operations. The alien commander announced. The colony leader, Dr. Paul Rivera, objected. We've been here for 2 years. We have rights to this location. The aliens responded by forcing the humans onto transport ships. When some resisted, the aliens used weapons. 37 humans died that day. News of the Ganymede incident spread. Across Earth, people protested in the streets. They demanded action against the Council. The United Nations held emergency meetings. President Dawson appeared on worldwide television. His face was grim. Today I sent a formal ultimatum to the Galactic Council, he said. Respect human sovereignty or face consequences. We will no longer tolerate their exploitation and violence. The Council's response came quickly. A message from Supreme Delegate Krexter played on all channels. Your ultimatum is noted, the alien said with clear dismissal. The Council recommends humans accept their place in the galactic order. Resistance would be ... unwise. That night, President Dawson met with Admiral Carter, Ambassador Reyes, Dr. Blackwell, and Dr. Wright in a secure room deep under the White House. How close is Project Sentinel to completion? He asked. Daniel Wright smiled. We've made breakthroughs I never thought possible. The quantum displacement system works. Our new shields can stop their weapons, and we've developed technology I don't think they've even imagined. How much longer do you need? Carter asked. 3 months to full deployment, Daniel replied. President Dawson nodded slowly. The Council has ignored our warnings and killed our people. They think we're weak. In 3 months, we'll show them how wrong they are. He looked at each person. In the room, prepare yourselves. In 3 months, we go to war. 3 months passed quickly. Project Sentinel teams worked day and night. Admiral Carter prepared his forces in secret. President Dawson met with world leaders to ensure unity when the time came. The plan was almost ready when the Council forced their hand. Without warning or permission, Council ships landed in Australia. They brought heavy mining equipment and began setting up a base near Brisbane. When the Australian government protested, the aliens ignored them. Local people gathered at the site. Thousands formed a human chain around the area. They carried signs asking the aliens to leave Earth alone. It was a peaceful protest. No one carried weapons. Children and elderly people stood together in the hot sun. The alien commander, a Zinthri named Vexel, watched the humans with growing anger. After 3 hours, he gave an order to his security forces. Remove these primitives from Council property, he said. The alien guards moved forward with weapons ready. The crowd stood firm. This is our home, shouted Linda Martinez, a school teacher at the front of the crowd. You have no right to be here, Vexel made a gesture. His guards opened fire. Energy. Weapons flashed across the protest line. People fell screaming. Those who tried to run were shot in the back. When it ended, 219 humans lay dead on Australian soil. Linda Martinez was among the first to fall. News of the Brisbane massacre spread across the world in minutes. Rage replaced fear in the hearts of humans everywhere. The time for patience had ended. President Dawson called an emergency meeting of the United Nations. Every country on Earth sent representatives. The hall was packed as Dawson took the stage. Today we witnessed the true nature of the Galactic Council, he said, his voice heavy with emotion. We extended our hand in friendship, and they responded with contempt and violence. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when you provoke humanity. He looked across the sea of faces. Is Earth united in this action? The vote was unanimous. For the first time in human history, every nation agreed on one thing. The aliens had to go. Dawson gave the signal. Around the world, military commanders received their orders. In orbit, on the Moon, on Mars, and across the solar system, Council bases suddenly lost power. The aliens found themselves trapped as hidden human technology activated. Weapons they never knew existed disabled their ships and systems. In the Brisbane mining camp, Vexel was shouting at his engineers when his command screen went dark. Outside, he heard a sound like thunder. He ran to the window and saw human ships appearing in the sky. They were unlike any human vessels he had seen before. They moved in ways that should be impossible. All across Earth, people watched their screens as Ambassador Olivia Reyes delivered humanity's message to the Council. Her face was broadcast to every alien base and ship in the solar system. This is Ambassador Reyes speaking for United Earth. She said, Your forces have committed murder on our planet. Your mining operations have stolen our resources. Your leaders have treated humans with contempt despite our warnings. Her eyes were hard as she continued. You have 1 hour to begin evacuation of all Council forces from the Sol system. Any ships or personnel remaining after that time will be considered hostile forces in a state of war with Earth. This is your only warning. On the Zinthri homeworld, Supreme Delegate Krexter received the message with disbelief. He called an emergency council meeting. The humans are threatening us, he told the gathered representatives of 17 species. They have somehow disabled our bases in their system. How is this possible? Asked the Volturi delegate. Their technology is primitive. Apparently not as primitive as we thought, Krexter replied. But they have gone too far. Their threats are empty. We will crush this rebellion immediately. The Council voted to dispatch their 8th Fleet to Earth, 300 warships. The pride of Council military power, prepared to jump to the Sol system. General Vexarn of the Zinthari, commander of the 8th Fleet, received his orders with satisfaction. We will teach these humans their place once and for all, he told his officers. On Earth, Admiral Carter watched as the hour deadline passed. Most alien personnel had rushed to evacuation ships, surprised by the sudden show of human power. A few bases refused to leave. They still don't believe we're serious, Carter told President Dawson over a secure line. And our sensors detect a large Council fleet preparing to jump into the system. Then it's war, Dawson said quietly. God help us all. Carter gave the order. The bases that refused to evacuate suddenly vanished as human quantum weapons activated. They weren't destroyed. They were displaced into a pocket dimension where they could do no harm. In Project Sentinel's main facility, Daniel Wright monitored the quantum displacement system. All targets successfully contained, he reported. No casualties on either side. Lisa Blackwell stood beside him, watching data flow across her screen. Council fleet approaching, she said. Estimated arrival in 20 minutes, Carter called his fleet commanders. 50 ships were all Earth could spare for the coming battle. They gathered near Jupiter's orbit to meet the incoming Council armada. Captain LaVara Bennett commanded the advanced destroyer UES Defiance, the first ship equipped with all of Project Sentinel's new technologies. Her crew was nervous but determined as they took their positions. They outnumber us 6-1, her first officer said quietly. Lavra nodded. Yes, but they have no idea what they're facing. Remember your training? Remember Brisbane? The comm system crackled as Admiral Carter addressed all ships. Men and women of Earth's Defense Force, today we fight not just for our planet but for our right to exist as equals in this galaxy. The Council believes they can treat us like animals. They believe their greater numbers and older civilization make them superior. He paused. Today we prove them wrong. Space rippled as the Council fleet arrived. 300 warships appeared in formation, their weapons already charging. The human fleet seemed tiny in comparison. General Vexarn studied the human ships. With amusement, only 50 vessels? He said to his bridge crew. They insult us by sending such a small force. He opened a communication channel to the human fleet. This is General Vexarn of the Galactic Council 8th Fleet. Your rebellion ends now. Surrender or be eliminated. Admiral Carter's response was brief. We warned you. The human ship suddenly blurred and vanished. Council sensors couldn't track them. Before Vexarn could give new orders, explosions rippled through his fleet. Human ships appeared inside their formation, fired, and disappeared again before the aliens could target them. On the UES Defiance, Lavra Bennett gave calm orders as her ship phased in and out of normal space. Target their engines and weapons only, she told her crew as they prepared for another attack run. They think in 3 dimensions. We don't have that limitation anymore. The battle had begun. Humanity was finally showing the galaxy what happened when you made them angry. General Vexarn couldn't believe what was happening. His mighty fleet was falling into chaos. Human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts. They moved in ways that broke the laws of physics as the Council understood them. How are they doing? This, he shouted as another explosion rocked his command ship. Find them and destroy them. We can't target them, sir, his weapons officer replied, panic in his voice. Our sensors can't lock on when they phase out? On the UES Defiance, Lavra Bennett watched her tactical display with grim satisfaction. The Council ships were in disarray. Their formation had broken. They fired blindly into space, hoping to hit the human vessels that kept appearing inside their defensive screen. Phase in behind Target Group 7, Lavra ordered. Fire quantum missiles and phase out immediately. The Defiance appeared behind 3 Council destroyers. Its weapons launched glowing projectiles that passed through the alien shields as if they weren't there. The missiles phased partially out of normal space, allowing them to ignore conventional defenses. Then they phased back fully, detonating inside the enemy ships. "Targets disabled," reported the weapons officer. "Their engines and weapons are offline." "Good," Lavra said. "Remember our orders. Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary." All across the battlefield, human ships followed the same strategy. They appeared, struck precisely at engines and weapon systems, then vanished before the aliens could respond. The Council's superior numbers meant nothing when they couldn't hit their targets. Admiral Carter watched the battle from his flagship, the UES Determination. "Status report," he ordered. 30% of enemy fleet disabled, sir," his tactical officer replied. "No casualties on our side. Quantum displacement systems functioning at optimal levels." Carter nodded. "Continue the operation and prepare to launch communication drones." As the battle raged, a separate mission was underway. Dr. Samantha Collins, Earth's top communications expert, had spent months studying the Council's network. Now she was about to use that knowledge. "Drones ready for deployment, Admiral," she reported from her station. "Launch," Carter ordered. Small, fast vessels shot away from the human fleet. They didn't attack the Council ships. Instead, they headed for specific points in space, nodes in the alien communication network. On the Council homeworld, Krexter received concerning reports. "What do you mean we're losing? We sent 300 ships." Before his aide could answer, every screen in the Council chamber changed. The faces of human victims from the Brisbane massacre appeared. Then came images of Council mining operations destroying portions of Mars. Next were recordings of Council representatives dismissing humans as primitives. Similar images played on every Council world, on every ship, in every alien home. Dr. Collins had hacked their entire network. She was showing every species in the Council the truth about how their leaders had treated Earth. "This can't be happening," Krexter whispered. Back at the battle, 6 hours had passed. The Council fleet was in ruins. 70% of their ships were disabled, drifting powerless through space. The rest were trying desperately to retreat, but the human vessels gave them no chance to regroup. General Vexarn stared in disbelief at his tactical display. Most of his fleet was gone. The human ships moved with impossible speed and precision. "Order all remaining ships to jump out of the system," he commanded. "We must warn the Council." "Jump drive's not responding, sir," his engineer reported. "Something is interfering with the calculations." A human face appeared on his main screen. It was Admiral Carter. "General Vexarn," Carter said calmly, "your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and we will ensure your crews are treated humanely." Vexarn snarled. "Never. The Council does not surrender to primitives." "Look around you, General," Carter replied. "Your understanding of primitive needs updating." As they spoke, more human ships arrived. These were different, larger vessels, equipped with tractor beams. They began capturing the disabled Council ships. Vexarn watched helplessly as his mighty fleet was systematically taken. Finally, he gave the order to surrender. On Earth, President Dawson addressed the world again. "The Council fleet has been defeated," he announced. "But our response has only begun." For 10 years, the Council has exploited and abused worlds they considered primitive. Today, that changes. He looked directly into the camera. "The quantum jump drives developed by Project Sentinel allow us to reach any point in the galaxy almost instantly. We have prepared strikes against key Council military installations across 3 star systems." The plan was already in motion. Human ships appeared near Council military bases with no warning. Their weapons fired with surgical precision, destroying weapons platforms and shipyards. While avoiding civilian areas, Dr. Wright monitored the operations from his command center. "All strike teams report success," he told Dawson over a secure line. Council defenses had no warning. Our ships were in and out before they could respond. Meanwhile, something unexpected was happening. 6 Council member species had broken away from the Alliance. They sent urgent messages to Earth asking for separate peace talks. They saw the evidence we broadcast, Ambassador Reyes explained to President Dawson. Many of these species didn't know how their leaders were treating us. Some of them had suffered similar exploitation before joining the Council. Admiral Carter's fleet returned to Earth orbit, bringing captured Council vessels for study. The crews were treated well, given comfortable quarters under guard. Many were shocked by this treatment. We expected torture, one alien officer told his human guard. Our leaders said humans were violent savages. We're not savages, the guard replied. We just don't like bullies. In his private chamber on the Zinthari homeworld, Krexter watched footage of human ships appearing inside supposedly impenetrable defenses. Reports flooded in from across Council space, military bases destroyed, communication networks compromised. Member species in rebellion? How could we have misjudged them so severely? He whispered to himself. He remembered Admiral Carter's warning from years ago. We may be young, but we've survived our own brutality. Don't mistake our hospitality for weakness. Now he understood. Humans hadn't been showing restraint because they were weak. They had been showing restraint because they chose to. When that choice was taken away, the response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. On the used Defiance, Lavra Bennett addressed her crew after their return to Earth. What we did today changes everything, she said. The Council thought they knew humanity's limits. They thought we would accept our place as a primitive species to be exploited. She smiled proudly at her crew. We just rewrote the rules of engagement for the entire galaxy, and we're not finished yet. Across the stars, word spread quickly. The mighty Council fleet defeated, the impenetrable defenses breached, the unbeatable Zinthari humbled. All by a species that had only reached space a few decades ago. The galaxy was learning a costly lesson: never ignore humanity's warnings. 3 months after the defeat of the Council fleet, the galaxy was a very different place. 6 species had already left the Council. More were threatening to leave. The once mighty alliance was falling apart. On Earth, people celebrated their victory but remained watchful. Everyone knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity among the stars. President Dawson sat in the Oval Office with Admiral Carter, Ambassador Reyes, and Dr. Wright. They were discussing the message that had just arrived from the Council. They want peace talks, Olivia said, looking up from her tablet. Krexter himself has asked to lead their delegation. Do we trust them? Carter asked, his face serious. No, Dawson replied, but we will meet with them. We need to establish new rules for our relationship with the galaxy. The president looked at the others. The question is, where should these talks be held? Dr. Wright smiled. I have a suggestion. 3 weeks later, representatives from Earth and the remains of the Galactic Council gathered on neutral ground, the lunar colony of New Armstrong. Humans had built this base on the moon years before the aliens came. It seemed fitting to hold the peace talks there, on humanity's first step into space. The meeting room was large, with windows looking out at the stark lunar landscape and the blue Earth hanging in the black sky. The human delegation sat on one side of a long table. The alien representatives sat on the other. Supreme Delegate Krexter led the Council group. He looked older now, his blue-gray skin duller than before. The defeat had affected him deeply. Ambassador Olivia Reyes led the human team. President Dawson had wanted to attend, but security concerns kept him on Earth. Admiral Carter sat beside her, along with other military and scientific leaders. Olivia opened the meeting. Welcome to New Armstrong. We are here to discuss the terms of peace between Earth and the Galactic Council. Krexter rose slowly. The proud, dismissive alien who had first greeted Earth was gone. In his place was a humble diplomat who had seen his mistake too late. We underestimated your species in every possible way, he admitted. The galaxy has never seen anything like humanity's response. He looked at the human delegation. The Council seeks peace. We are prepared to offer reparations for the damage we caused and the lives we took, Olivia nodded. We appreciate that. But this isn't just about making amends for past wrongs. This is about creating a new relationship, one based on respect, not exploitation. For 7 days they negotiated. Sometimes talks became heated, especially when discussing the Brisbane massacre. But slowly, a new agreement took shape. On the final day, they signed what became known as the Treaty of Luna. It established new principles for relations between species. First, all intelligent species had the right to control their own worlds and resources. Second, technology and knowledge would be shared fairly between worlds. Third, any species that exploited others would face severe consequences. Most importantly, the treaty created a new organization to replace the Council, the Galactic Cooperative. In this new alliance, all member species would have equal voice, regardless of their technological level. As Crexter signed the document, he looked at Ambassador Reyes. "You could have destroyed us completely. Your weapons could have wiped out our worlds. Why didn't you?" Olivia smiled. "Because that's not who we are. We fought to be treated as equals, not to become conquerors." After the treaty signing, humanity's influence spread quickly across the galaxy. Admiral Carter, now heading the newly formed Human Defense Alliance, established training programs for ships from former Council worlds. Many alien leaders were suspicious at first. During a meeting with representatives from the Volturi, one asked, "Why would you teach us your military tactics? Aren't you afraid we might use them against you someday?" Carter's answer was simple. "We didn't fight to become what we defeated. We fought to create a better galaxy for everyone." Meanwhile, Dr. Wright and his team shared their quantum displacement technology with trusted alien scientists. Together, they began developing new innovations that would benefit all species. "Your approach to physics is completely different from ours," said Zinval, a leading Zinthri scientist, as she worked with Daniel in his lab. "You see possibilities where we saw only limitations." Dr. Lisa Blackwell established the interspecies medical exchange, focusing on improving healthcare across dozens of worlds. She worked closely with alien doctors, combining their knowledge with human medical practices. "Humans have a remarkable ability to find simple solutions to complex problems," noted Dr. Garanak, a Volturi physician working with Lisa. "Perhaps because you haven't been bound by thousands of years of tradition." 5 years after the war, the galaxy had transformed. The oppressive council was gone. The Galactic Cooperative included 30 species, with more applying to join each year. Ships from many worlds traveled freely through human space, engaged in fair trade and cultural exchange. Earth had changed too. Cities now featured alien visitors walking alongside humans. Universities offered courses in extraterrestrial languages and cultures. Children grew up learning about worlds beyond their own. In orbit above Earth, construction neared completion on a massive space station. Called Unity, it would serve as headquarters for the Galactic Cooperative and a symbol of the new era. On the 10th anniversary of First Contact, President Dawson stood before representatives from 47 worlds gathered in Geneva. The audience included humans and aliens of all kinds, sitting together as equals. 10 years ago, aliens came to Earth, Dawson began. They thought us primitive and weak. They ignored our warnings and treated us with contempt. He paused, looking across the diverse gathering. The galaxy learned a painful lesson, that humanity's warnings should be heeded. But we learned something too, that our greatest strength isn't our capacity for righteous anger, but our ability to forge a better peace after conflict. Dawson gestured to the alien representatives. "Look around this room, see what we have built together." Species that once fought now work side by side. Knowledge that was hoarded is now shared freely. Resources that were stolen are now traded fairly. In the front row, Olivia Reyes sat next to Crexter, who now served as a regular diplomat for his people. They had become unlikely friends over the years, working together to heal the wounds of the past. "Together," Dawson continued, "we build a future greater than any single species could achieve alone. That is humanity's true legacy to the stars." That night, people across Earth and on dozens of alien worlds watched as the Unity Station was officially opened. Its lights shone brightly against the darkness of space, a beacon of cooperation where once there had been only exploitation and conflict. The galaxy had ignored humanity's warning and regretted making humans angry. But in the end, it wasn't human fury that changed the stars forever. It was human compassion, creativity, and hope that truly transformed the galaxy.